Welcome to Eco 501 Managerial Economics, sections 1 and 2, summer semester, BRACU University. This is week 2's pre-recorded video lectures. In week 1, we introduced ourselves and we said that this course will properly start from this week, which is week 2. So before I start the video lectures, let me open the slides. So this is summer semester. All right. This week, this is what we're going to cover. In part 1, we're going to look at last week's covered topics. In part 2, we'll look at BRACU University and my student honor code. Part 3, what is managerial economics and the definition of economics. Then we'll look at 5 concepts which will help us to understand choice. In part 5, we'll look at some other topics which are relevant to the course and also to this week's lecture. Last week, in week 1, we introduced ourselves. We informally briefed ourselves of the course assessments. We briefed ourselves that this semester may be totally online. Things may change, but we start on the assumption that it's going to be totally online. We also introduced the Facebook group and we advised everybody to add to the Facebook group. This is where most of the notices will be given. Even if you're not active in Facebook, it would be advised that you open an account, and at least for this course, because sometimes it may not always be possible for me to send emails all the time. We also introduced my YouTube channel of BRACU University, and we advised everybody to add themselves. We also mentioned the texts that we shall be using. The texts have already been sent to you by email. And finally, in last week, we briefly mentioned the initial core concepts. That means the 5 concepts that we just discussed, mentioned now, that we will be discussing in detail this week. But before I start week 2, I'd like to mention a little email that BRACU University sent us. Over there, it mentioned that BRACU University is very much aware, because of COVID, the students, the staff, and the teacher, everybody is facing a challenging time. BRACU University is extremely student friendly and also staff and faculty friendly, and they do try to listen to the queries and various challenges that anybody has. Having said so, BRACU University has probably noticed some unethical behaviors in the last semester or the previous the semester before that, which was also more or less online. So BRACU University sent us a student honor code, which I have copied here verbatim in 1, 2, and 3. I'll read through them. Number 1, I will not cheat, use unfair means, join intentionally or unintentionally any online or offline group in which exams answers are posted or discussed, or engaged in any behavior that would commonly be deemed to be academically unethical. Point number 2, I will immediately notify the course teacher of any such activity on online or offline groups that I become aware of. Last point, number 3, I acknowledge that I may be suspended or expelled from BRACU University if I am found to have engaged in any academically unethical behavior. End of the BRACU University Student Honor Code. Again, BRAC is extremely student friendly, but BRACU University also at the same time is strict on cheating, plagiarism, and copying. Now, in conjunction with the BRACU University Student Code, Honor Code, this is my Student Honor Code. Number 1, if the semester will be totally online as it was in the previous semester, spring 21, i.e. 21-1, then assessments will also be online, since we won't be able to meet face to face. I will give take-home assignments. I will give, for example, say section 2 is on Saturday. So I'll give them an assignment on Saturday, which I will expect they will submit before the next Saturday, the next week. With section 1, the Tuesday class, I'll give it to on a Tuesday with the same time framework. They submit 1 week later before the beginning of the next class, next Tuesday class. Each assignment will be simple and should finish in 2 sides of type at the best. That means some of the assignments you may find you will write only you will type maximum 1 page. Some of them they could be 2 pages maximum, but it will not be more than 2 pages. Each assignment will be checked for plagiarism via Turnitin. If plagiarism is found to be unacceptably high, then marks will either be deducted or I may cap that particular assignment to a certain letter grade. What I do or what will be done will be mentioned at the time of the submitting the assignment. Distributing the assignment. Through the semester, point number 5, I shall take online oral assessments. They will be done randomly. That means if our class is say 50, this week I may say that I'm going to take oral assessment of 10. The next week I may take oral assessment of the next 10 slot. So over the semester, I will try that everybody is assessed at least 2 times orally, and the time will be given very much well in advance so that you can organize your other activities. And each participant will face at least 1 online oral assessment, if possible 2. Details shall be mentioned in the class. Okay, so that was end of the beginning, that what we covered in the last week, and the student honor code of BRAC University and the student honor code of myself. Now, the first topic that we start off with this week is a very simple question. What is managerial economics? Managerial economics, in the last week, if you recall, I said that this course became popular in the business schools of the United States in the late 40s, just after the Second World War, and the early 50s. It started off under the name of managerial economics, so that it will be covering economics that is useful for business managers. That's how the course started off with. And that's how the name also stayed. This course is being taught in Bangladesh under this name. It's taught under the same title in other business schools of Bangladesh as well, because of that popularity from the United States in the late 40s. So basically, managerial economics is an applied branch of economics that uses tools and techniques from economic theory to enable business managers to make better decisions and understand the environment in which they operate. Look very carefully. We have bold italics under 2 words. Number 1, applied branch of economics. That means we are not going to be interested in theoretical economics. We will mention the theory, but we'll be more interested in the applications of the theory rather than the theory itself, how it came, what were the technicalities of it, etc., etc. Second, this course is a course where business managers, how do they take decisions, that will be discussed. This course is not a course where entrepreneurs, innovators, how they shape their decisions, we will be looking at that. It's how business managers make decisions using the tools of applied economics. Now, a question may arise. Why are we using tools from economics? Why not another discipline? The first part is, economics is the first among the social sciences to study how individuals and groups make decisions. Later on, political science, later on, psychology, behavioral sciences, etc. Those fields also entered with to answer this question within their domain. Since economics started before everybody, So economics is outlook became more established compared to the other ones. That's why we're using economics. Second reason for using economics tools is many of these economics tools are based on common sense. Therefore, and they are very much easily applicable to model building theories and models. That's why we're going to use economics tools. Now, from week one, we realized that our class is divided into two parts. One part have a grounding, basic grounding in economics from O or A levels or SSC, HSC, or from their previous undergrad. In the undergrad, they may have had an economics course. So some of the concepts or many concepts introduced in this course won't be unfamiliar to them. However, if we look at a topic the second time, we look at it with more clarity. So those of you who have had an economics background may find in this course, which I will try to do, is that the concepts are in a different line when you will revisit. You may find a different dimension to what you understood. Now, we also found out in this course, there are some people who've never done a formal economics course before coming to this one. No problem. Even if those who haven't studied economics before coming to this course, most of the economics course that concepts that we are going to look at over here are based on common sense. If the price increases, what will you do? As a consumer, you tend to buy less. If the price increases, what will you do? As a seller, you will try to sell as much as possible. So these are all common sense topics. Most of them are, so there's nothing to worry about. Because most concepts of economics that we will be covering in this course will be based on common sense and real world daily experiences. So now let's start with the definition of economics. We are taking this definition from Stiglitz and Walsh, page number 4. You already have this reference, chapter 1. There are thousands of definitions of economics. Since we are following Stiglitz and Walsh, we will be looking at this definition only. But our objective will be to find a technique on how to understand a definition. Let's read the definition here. Economics studies how individuals, firms, government, and other organizations make choices and how these choices determine a society's use of resources. In any definition, we want to first identify some keywords, some key terms, and then see if we can link them through a coherent logic. So let's look at this definition. The first one is somebody is making a decision. Who are they? They could be individuals, they could be firms, they could be governments, they could be somebody else. So somebody, an individual or a group is making a decision. So this is the first keyword, okay? The second keyword, what are they doing? They're making a choice. That means they're making a decision, okay? So the second thing that economics is very much interested in, whoever we're observing is making a decision, whether that's the individual or whether that's a group, whether that's you as an individual, all of you in your class, everybody in the MBA program, everybody in BRACU University, doesn't matter. Some body or an institution is making a decision. Number 3, society's uses of resources. This Stiglitz and Walsh, they did not explain in detail. Basically, what they wanted to show in this part was, what is the consequence of the decision? How can I predict that the decision I'm making, given the environment that I'm under, may be a good one? Stress on the word maybe. Until and unless we make a decision, we don't know whether it was a good decision or a bad decision. But before making a decision, everybody has to think. Shall I go for this or shall I go for that? So is there any underlying principle within which we can predict that if we go like this, the chances are very high that the decision will be a good one, given the environment that I'm find myself in. So now let us link the keywords. What were the keywords? Number one, somebody's making a decision, whether that's an individual or a group. They're making a choice. They're thinking about the consequence of this choice. So linking the keywords, we're going to form a sentence. What determines the choice? This is the first thing we want to know. Second, what are the consequences of a choice? These are just basically the two things that we're going to look at in each topic. Therefore, we are looking at economics as a science of decision making. We are not interested in economics as if the economics is studying the budget of Bangladesh, as if economics is studying inflation, unemployment, okay, GDP, etc., etc. We are looking at economics as a science of decision making. So we ask just two simple questions. What determines a choice, i.e., what factors determine a choice? What may be the probable consequences of a choice? So this brings us to the end of this part one video. In part two video, we will start with this. We have already mentioned these 5 concepts. We just mentioned them in the last week. This week, we're going to look at them in detail. So I stop share now. So this is the end of part one. Please look at part two as well. Thank you very much. Bye.